What if I told you that the CIA once tried to weaponize dolphins? That a neuroscientist in the 1960s gave them LSD to teach them English? Or that some people believe dolphins aren't even from Earth? From Cold War spy programs to New Age lore, tonight we're diving into the mysterious world of dolphins. Hello, and welcome back to Wicked Mysterious. I'm your host, Danny. I'm your guide into the strange and unexplained. Before we get started, if you'd like to support this channel, you can become a member on YouTube and cancel anytime. You do get access to a private Discord server and early release episodes. I also have PDF guides to seeing auras as well as merch. And if you'd like to work with me, you can sign up for my upcoming conscious creation course. All the links are in the description box below. In this episode, we're exploring the strange history of dolphin conspiracies and the hard facts, the folklore, and some declassified experiments that sound like sci fi but are real, including a scientist who let dolphins trip on acid and swim into wild theories of telepathic, possibly alien dolphins. If you're skeptical, you probably should be. But keep an open mind because by the end, you might see these creatures in a whole new light. So let's dive on in. During the Cold War, military strategists saw potential in dolphin smarts and sonar like senses. Both the US and the Soviet Union secretly launched programs to train marine mammals for covert operations. Declassified CIA files reveal a 1960s project codenamed Project Oxygas, where the agency envisioned using bottlenose dolphins as underwater saboteurs. The idea was to train dolphins to deliver explosive packages to enemy ships' hulls, turning these intelligent animals into living torpedoes. A CIA report declassified in 2019 confirms that Oxygas aimed to see if dolphins could carry a simulated weapon into a propeller of a target boat. This wasn't just a one off idea either. The CIA even thought about dolphins conducting coastal reconnaissance with cameras and deploying underwater sensors for eavesdropping. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy had its own top secret marine mammal program. Starting in the 1960s, Navy researchers tested over 19 species, even sharks and birds, to see which could best serve in defense missions. They settled on bottlenose dolphins for their exceptional sonar, and also California sea lions for their keen underwater vision. The Navy's dolphins were trained to detect and mark underwater mines, retrieve lost equipment, and guard harbors against enemy divers. According to Spyscape.com, in Vietnam and in later conflicts, specifically trained dolphins patrolled rivers and coastlines. And during the 2003 Iraq War, Navy dolphins were deployed to sniff out mines in the port of Qasr. To keep these operations classified, the Navy kept its marine mammal program in secrecy for decades. It was only declassified in the early 1990s, but by then, rumors were already rampant. One persistent legend even claimed that during Hurricane Katrina in 2005, some Navy attack dolphins armed with toxic dart guns escaped to the Gulf of Mexico. British media reported that up to 36 deadly dolphins might be on the loose, trained to shoot hostile divers on sight, a scenario straight out of a sci fi movie. The Navy officially denied any dolphins escaped, dismissing it as an urban legend. But the story took on a life of its own and still persists some 20 years later. After all, the Navy does admit it trained dolphins for such anti swimmer tasks since the Cold War. The thought of armed dolphin soldiers captured public imagination and fed into the mystery around these programs. The Soviet Union ran a similar dolphin training facility on the Black Sea. There, Soviet dolphins were taught to find enemy divers, attach mines to ships, or so the rumors say. When the USSR collapsed, it said that some ex-military dolphins were sold to Iran in the 1990s. The idea of communist attack dolphins finding a second career in the Persian Gulf sounds absurd, but it's been reported by multiple sources. In more recent years, analysts spotted dolphins deployed by Russia to protect a Crimean naval base during the 2022 conflict. So, using dolphins in warfare wasn't just ancient history, it's arguably still happening. These programs weren't just about training dolphins, they were experiments too in controlling their behavior. In 1964, the CIA sent scientist James Fitzgerald to set up a secret lab in Florida to study dolphin hydrodynamics and potential missions. Researchers even probed dolphin brains with electrodes, discovering start and stop signals that could potentially command the animal's actions. It sounds again like the plot of a sci fi novel, remote controlled dolphins acting as spies, but this research did actually occur in the Cold War climate of mind control experimentation. If you're thinking of MK Ultra on dolphins, you're not alone. The idea has certainly fueled some wild speculations online, though hard evidence of dolphin mind control programs remains secretive. But when it comes to espionage and war, humans have tried to recruit some unusual allies. Dolphins' natural abilities made them attractive candidates for military use, raising ethical questions that still persist today. The Navy maintains that its marine mammals have saved lives by clearing mines and never directly harmed anyone, framing them as fellow service members doing dangerous work. But the secrecy and the strangeness of combat dolphins have inspired countless conspiracy theories. Could there really be dolphin double agents out there? As we've learned, the truth can be stranger than fiction. Before we move on from the military side of things, there's one more man that we have to talk about, and his name is Dr. John C. Lilly. And his story takes the dolphin saga to a whole other level. In the 1960s, the American neuroscientist John Cunningham Lilly believed dolphins might be so intelligent that we could learn to speak with them. He wasn't alone in his thoughts. Even NASA took interest in this, thinking that studying dolphin communication could help us prepare for talking with extraterrestrials. With NASA funding and Navy support, Lilly set up a research lab in the Caribbean dubbed the Dolphin House, and this was there to pursue interspecies communications. And this wasn't really that secretive, it was a highly publicized scientific endeavor at first. Lilly wrote a bestseller called Man and Dolphin, and this made people really optimistic that we might soon converse with dolphins. To bridge the language gap, Lilly's team, including a young researcher named Margaret Howe Lovett, went to extreme lengths. In a now famous 1965 experiment, Lovett actually lived in a flooded house 24/7 with a dolphin named Peter for weeks, trying to teach him English words by constant human contact. Lovett slept on a floating bed and worked at a desk suspended over water so Peter could always be by her side. She attempted to get the dolphin to mimic human speech, starting with simple phrases like "Hello, Margaret," and remarkably, Peter did learn to make certain sounds, although M was especially tricky. But the dedication to this project was real, and so was the weirdness. Peter became excited and love it, to avoid disrupting the lessons, relieve the dolphin's urges by hand as part of the daily routine. Yes, this actually happened, and it later overshadowed the science when the story hit the tabloids. But but just as this experiment was taking off, Lilly's interest took a sharp turn. Like many 1960s icons, Lilly had discovered LSD. In fact, he had a government license to study LSD's effects on part of the brain, part of early sanctioned research into the drug. True to form, Lilly being Lilly, he wondered what would happen if dolphins tried acid. So he began injecting his dolphins with LSD in 1964 to see if it enhanced their communication abilities. Lilly's friends, who included psychedelic pioneers like Timothy Leary and even Hollywood actors like my celebrity crush, Jeff Bridges, saw this as in line with his fearless exploration of consciousness. To Lilly, expanding the mind, whether it be human or dolphin, was just the next frontier. So, did the dolphins freak out or start speaking in different languages under LSD? Surprisingly, by Lovett's account, nothing much happened. The dolphins showed no significant reaction or breakthrough communication. Different species respond differently to drugs, and it turns out that LSD didn't have the mind blowing effects on dolphins that Lilly had hoped. Margaret Lovett was uncomfortable with these drug experiments because she cared so deeply for the dolphins and didn't like seeing them used as test subjects with drugs. She insisted Lilly not dose Peter, the dolphin she was teaching to talk, and Lilly agreed to spare that one dolphin, though he continued injecting others in secret. Lilly later drifted further into the psychedelic and the speculative, further away from rigorous science. He would spend hours in isolation float tanks on ketamine or LSD seeking mystical insights. He actually invented the sensory deprivation tank earlier in his career. At the Dolphin House, the mission of teaching dolphins English started to feel boring to him compared to the excitement of LSD trips. By late 1966, he had totally lost interest in the Talking Dolphin project and was bored with the slow grind of real scientific research. And this had some serious consequences. Funding agencies, including NASA, got cold feet. The lab's director, who was a highly respected anthropologist named Gregory Bateson, resigned in protest over Lilly's treatment of the dolphins. Eventually, the money dried up and the Dolphin House was shut down in 1966. The dolphins were sent to a smaller lab facility, and tragically, the dolphin Peter, who had formed a really strong bond with Lovett, died shortly after in an apparent suicide from heartbreak. And dolphins, being conscious breathers, can simply stop surfacing for air when they are deeply distressed. How freaking sad. It was a very sad end to an experiment that had begun with a lot of hope. Dr. Lilly, however, wasn't done with dolphins, and in later years, freed from any government oversight, he went into full tilt into the fringe. He attempted to communicate with dolphins telepathically, holding mind to mind sessions with them and played them trippy underwater music in case sound frequencies might bridge the gap. He also became enamored with metaphysical ideas, at one point claiming to interact with cosmic entities he whimsically labeled as Earth Coincidence Control Office, or ECCO. And he explained this as sort of a divine bureaucracy he believed orchestrated events on Earth. Lilly's later books veered into New Age mysticism and wasn't taken seriously by mainstream scientists, but it made Lilly a cult figure. He walked an interesting tightrope between a genius ahead of his time and a mad scientist. Hollywood even drew inspiration from him. The 1973 film The Day of the Dolphin, about an evil plot to make talking dolphin assassins, and a trippy movie called Altered States in 1980, were both influenced by Lilly's work. So, did Lilly actually work for the CIA or intelligence agencies, as rumors suggest? Officially, no, but his research did overlap with areas of intense interest to the government. The Navy and NASA funded parts of his dolphin communication projects, and Lilly's prior brain research on animals, where he found those stop and start brain switch points, was noted by military, eyeing mind control techniques. In the very paranoid atmosphere of the Cold War, it's easy to imagine some shadowy agency keeping tabs on Lilly's findings and hoping to adapt them for covert purposes, and I truly believe they probably did. Lilly himself grew paranoid about government surveillance, of course, and later on, especially after he blew the whistle on unsanctioned dolphin captures by military contractors in the 70s, whether those claims were true or not, Lilly had become a thorn in the side of the establishment. In the end, John Lilly's legacy is complicated. On one hand, he opened people's minds to the idea that dolphins are deeply intelligent, perhaps even intelligent enough to communicate with us on their own terms. On the other hand, his methods of drugging dolphins were ethically questionable and ultimately unproductive scientifically, or so mainstream science says. But one very real outcome of Lilly's work was an unexpected cultural shift. He inadvertently brought new light to the spiritual fascination with dolphins that still continues today. There are many modern and ancient myths that paint dolphins not as CIA spies or lab animals, but as mystical beings with extraordinary powers. So, before we get too deep into psychic dolphins, here's an interesting fact. In the US, under the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972, it's actually illegal to approach, feed, harass, or interact with wild dolphins in ways that could change their behavior. And in the eyes of the law, harassment includes trying to communicate with them, hence the rumors that it is illegal to try to speak with dolphins. If you're in the water making clicking sounds or attempting to communicate, and a federal officer thinks you're influencing a dolphin's actions, that's a violation of the law. Penalties can include fines up to $100,000 and even jail time. So, even if it might seem totally harmless, the federal government says otherwise unless you're part of an authorized research program. So, of course, that leads many people to spin this into the government doesn't want us knowing what dolphins might say, which honestly is super intriguing if true. If you've ever heard someone say that swimming with dolphins changed their life or that dolphins have healing energy, you can think in part the dolphin craze ignited by Lilly's ideas. Although there are plenty of ancient cultures who have their own folklore, which I will cover in a bit. By the 1980s, a bona fide dolphin movement had emerged among New Age spiritual circles. Dolphins became iconic symbols of wisdom, love, and cosmic connection. One 1989 Los Angeles Times article described how dolphin devotees were holding dolphin inspired meditation retreats, complete with dolphin calling rituals and even oceanic tantra under the full moon. New Age magazines spoke of people being dolphinized, reporting profound telepathic bonds and emotional healing after encounters with these creatures. As Magical Blend magazine's editor put it, many believe these animals, with their large brains and playful empathy, could help humans reach answers in a way that traditional religion or therapy couldn't. It's as if dolphins became the new shaman. Some of these claims that have emerged from this subculture are a little bit out there, but to give you an idea, here are a few modern theories about dolphins that circulate in New Age and conspiracy corners. The first is that they are telepathic communicators. Many believe dolphins can communicate telepathically with humans. People recount feeling dolphins speak to them mind to mind, transmitting feelings or images rather than words, and some self proclaimed psychics even channel messages from a group of consciousness they call dolphin spirit. I really don't think that one's that far out there. Also, there's an industry of dolphin assisted therapy where swimming with dolphins is said to help people with autism, depression, or PTSD. And these participants often report euphoria or even physical healing sensations. One swimmer described it as a ginger ale feeling of love bubbling through them when a dolphin looked into their eyes. While, of course, scientific evidence for any medical healing is currently not available, the wonder of this experience is very powerful. Now, what about dolphin assisted water birth? In the early 2010s, a few stories went viral about expectant mothers traveling to places like Hawaii or even the Black Sea to give birth in the water with dolphins present. The theory is that dolphins are natural midwives with calming sonar that supposedly eases labor and creates a spiritual bond between the dolphin and the newborn. Advocates of this claim that dolphins' echolocation helps heal or imprint a higher intelligence. But marine biologists and medical experts are not on board with this. They point out that dolphins are wild, unpredictable animals, and males can be very aggressive. There's also no scientific evidence that this practice is safe, but it would be really cool if it were. In the US, attempting a dolphin assisted birth with wild dolphins would violate the Marine Mammal Protection Act, just like trying to talk to them. But in other countries, rules vary, but doctors almost universally advise against it. Some people also think that dolphins are alien or not originally of this earth. One dolphin guru, Eros Christos, who calls himself a dolphin ambassador, claims dolphins are intergalactic beings that can travel between dimensions and have come to Earth as a divine teacher. And actually, a number of New Age authors speculate that dolphins and whales originated from the star system Sirius B and were sent here eons ago to uplift Earth's vibration. They believe that dolphins are basically cosmic ambassadors or undercover aliens guiding humanity. Some believe that Atlanteans had a special bond with dolphins, or even that evolved dolphins themselves were citizens of Atlantis. Modern starseed mythos sometimes cast dolphins as keepers of ancient wisdom or high priests of the sea, carrying knowledge from the lost continent. As one spiritual writer put it, certain pods of spotted dolphins near Bimini, near the rumored site of Atlantis, were the wisdom keepers from Atlantis, delivering frequencies and information to us. There's also a theory that being around dolphins can amplify human psychic abilities or consciousness. Many say that during meditation, they've had dolphin encounters that triggered spiritual awakenings, lucid dreams, or even out of body experiences. In the Soviet Union's twilight years, a fringe dolphin cult emerged where people tried to cultivate psychic skills by interacting with black sea dolphins. Of course, mainstream science doesn't support any of these ideas, but they never do. And they say that dolphins don't have paranormal powers or extraterrestrial origins, but it's interesting why these beliefs took hold. Dolphins are incredibly intelligent. They have complex communication, they can exhibit self awareness, and even show emotional intelligence similar to that of great apes. They also always seem to be smiling, which is just the shape of their face, but they also often behave in ways that we interpret as playful or compassionate. Throughout the 20th century, countless true stories emerged of dolphins apparently rescuing humans from drowning or from shark attacks. So, to us, dolphins look like benevolent guardians. As one New Age magazine editor explained, knowing that dolphins have big brains and unique sonar senses led many to view them as spiritual inspiration and hope, almost like messengers from a higher dimension. By the 1990s, seminars and dolphin healing swim programs were popping up everywhere, from Hawaii to Florida. And some psychologists got on board, bringing patients to interact with dolphins and reporting breakthroughs. It's worth mentioning that dolphin telepathy has also been a topic in actual parapsychological research. There were experiments where people tried to telepathically send images to dolphins or vice versa, but none produced any convincing data. But the fact that scientists even attempted it shows how compelling the idea was. Dr. Lilly himself, after conventional methods failed, wrote about trying to reach a dolphin with his mind, essentially willing a human dolphin understanding into existence. There's also the idea of aliens being in the oceans, although I think that this is more of a fact now based on what Congress is saying, but this is the notion that an alien intelligence might already be here on Earth and hiding in the oceans, and they could be represented by our dolphins and whales. And this has been a theory floated by scientists in a speculative sense. Even famed astronomer Carl Sagan, while not saying dolphins are aliens, did point out that if we ever meet extraterrestrials, they might be as different from us as dolphins are. So, learning to communicate with dolphins could be a rehearsal for alien contact. Some took that a step further into a literal belief, and certain channelers claim that dolphins told them telepathically about their extraterrestrial heritage. And it's very Aquarian age thinking, which is blending sci fi and spirituality. One story in a Vice article described a guru who said he'd been getting mental images from dolphins for months and concluded that they are shape shifting aliens who only appear as animals, but are actually divine masters here to guide humankind. He even calls himself a dolphin ambassador and leads meditations to connect people with their inner dolphin spirit. It's easy to roll your eyes at all of this, but the people involved describe feelings of profound peace, joy, and interconnectedness from these beliefs. In a world where a lot feels so disconnected, the idea of a wise, compassionate dolphin friend, even an imaginary one, is comforting to a lot of people. From a skeptical standpoint, we might say that we have a human tendency to idealize certain animals. For some, dolphins filled a spiritual void. They became the angels of the sea, therapists with flippers, and even our saviors. The Los Angeles Times noted that several spiritual mediums in the 80s claimed to channel messages from a dolphin consciousness, preaching peace and environmentalism. And interestingly, when one such channeler suggested that dolphins in captivity were choosing to be in marine parks to help humans, other dolphin lovers were outraged, seeing this as an excuse to keep dolphins captive. So, where does US intelligence fit into this bizarre dolphin mystery? I've come across some claims that the Navy or CIA know dolphins are of alien origin or possess psychic powers and have tried to weaponize those abilities. There's no real evidence of that yet, of course, and it seems like some of these theories are blending the real history of military dolphin training with psychic ability. But what is undeniable is the cultural impact. From New Age books to episodes of The X Files, the idea of dolphins as special, maybe even supernatural creatures has taken hold. Even India in 2013 declared dolphins to be non human persons and banned keeping them in captivity on ethical grounds. And this was influenced by our recognition of dolphin intelligence, though not explicitly by New Age claims. And this, of course, led to the idea that dolphins were mystical beings. And these modern myths don't come from nowhere. Humans have viewed dolphins as magical for millennia. To truly appreciate the depth of dolphin lore, we need to visit the past, from Greek temples to Polynesian legends, where dolphins have long been cast as helpers, guides, and even gods. Our fascination with dolphins isn't a recent phenomenon. In fact, it's old. Nearly every seafaring culture has dolphin legends, often portraying them as divine or mystical. The ancient Greeks, for example, held dolphins in the highest regard. Killing a dolphin was said to be as serious a crime as killing a person, because dolphins were seen as messengers of the gods and sacred to Poseidon, god of the sea. One famous myth tells of the poet Arion. When sailors tried to murder him at sea, dolphins, charmed by Arion's music, rescued him and carried him safely to shore. And another story, Poseidon's courtship of the nymph Aphrodite, succeeded only because a dolphin named Delphinius convinces her to marry him, and as thanks, Poseidon placed the dolphin's image among the stars as the constellation Delphinius. Even the Greeks' sun god Apollo had a dolphin connection. The sanctuary of Delphi, whose name is similar to Delphin, Greek for dolphin, has a legend. Apollo transformed into a dolphin to guide priests to Delphi and became the first priest there. Because of this, Apollo was worshipped as Apollo Delphinios. The dolphin symbolized Apollo's guidance and the linkage between the gods and mankind. To the Greeks, a dolphin riding the waves alongside your ship was a sign of good fortune and divine protection. And harming a dolphin could invoke the wrath of the heavens. But these myths weren't unique to Greece. In the Roman world, dolphins were associated with Neptune, who was Poseidon's counterpart, and often depicted ferrying souls of the dead to the afterlife. Romans believed dolphins guided the souls of heroes to the islands of the blessed, an eternal paradise across the sea. Archaeologists have even found dolphin figurines in Roman graves around the Black Sea, likely placed as charms to ensure safe passage to the beyond. In Pacific Ocean cultures, dolphins and their bigger cousins, whales, often appeared as ancestral spirits or deities. For example, in New Zealand, Maori legend speaks of taniwha, ocean guardians that can take the form of dolphins or whales. One tale tells of Taniwha in dolphin form that would play in a river to warn its tribe if enemies were coming. The Maori also have a beautiful belief that souls of the departed sometimes become dolphins. The Maori name for one small species of dolphin literally means special ocean dweller. And some South Island tribes said that their loved ones' spirits might return as these dolphins to guide canoes or protect fishermen. Likewise, in Hawaii, dolphins are considered embodiments of Amakua, family guardian spirits that watch over their descendants. Hawaiian stories describe dolphins guiding lost boats to shore through stormy waters, acting on behalf of ancestors to save lives. Even in Celtic folklore, which is rich in nature symbolism, dolphins appear as well. The Celts saw the ocean as a source of life and mystery, and dolphins its wise protectors. Celtic legends speak of dolphins as guardians of sacred waters associated with healing and harmony. They were thought to understand the rhythms of the waters and even the breath of life. A Celtic carving might show a dolphin as the watcher of the waters, ensuring balance between sea and land. In Irish lore, there's an old belief that certain lakes and wells were guarded by animal spirits, dolphins included, preventing misuse of the water. The Celtic people called dolphins the protectors of sacred wells. This aligns with the broader theme that water was sacred to Celts, and any creature that bridged water and air, like a dolphin surfacing for a breath, was seen as a symbol of duality and transformation. Also, some Celtic myths even considered dolphins as transformed human souls akin to Selkies, the seal people, but in dolphin form, occasionally guiding or rescuing humans lost at sea. Across many cultures, we see repeating themes: dolphins rescuing people, guiding the lost, carrying messages from beyond, or teaching humans valuable lessons. For example, an ancient legend from Italy tells the foundation of the city of Taurus. The son of Poseidon was saved from a shipwreck by a dolphin, and where he landed, he founded Taurus. The city's coinage for centuries bore the image of a boy riding a dolphin, commemorating this mythical genesis. In some Native American lore, river dolphins are shapeshifters that can turn into handsome men or beautiful women to seduce villagers. It's fascinating to realize that long before any science, humans intuited something special about dolphins. Ancient sailors noticed how dolphins would interact playfully with boats and sometimes aid those in distress. They filled the blanks with stories of gods and transformations, and while we might not literally believe those tales today, the underlying sentiment that dolphins have almost a spiritual quality clearly endures. Modern claims of dolphin telepathy or being angels of the sea sound like updated mythology. In 2025 or 500 BC, we're telling similar stories that cast dolphins as more than mere animals. And dolphins make perfect sense as these benevolent figures. They dwell in an environment as alien as outer space to us, the deep ocean, yet they surface into our world regularly. They are enormously powerful. A grown dolphin could kill a human easily, yet they often seem gentle and eager to interact peacefully. To ancient people, that choice to help rather than harm, the dolphin's apparent affinity for us must have felt miraculous. It still does. On the factual side, there's plenty of interesting stories from the Cold War military programs training dolphins to be underwater spies, an eccentric scientist dosing dolphins with LSD in a quest for interspecies dialogue, and ongoing naval projects that keep at least some dolphins in service to this day. And in reality, the truth here is stranger than fiction. Are dolphins psychic, alien ambassadors, or aliens themselves? Or are they just part of a grand spiritual plan? Their real intelligence and social complexity is a wonder in itself, and scientists are still discovering how sophisticated their communication and cultures are within the pod. We might not ever have full two-way communication with a dolphin yet, but we have learned dolphins use signature whistles like names, solve problems, and they could even have a sense of the future or abstract concepts. And those discoveries prompt us to treat them with greater respect and protection. Thank you for joining me on this journey through secret programs, psychedelic experiments, and ancient legends of the dolphin. As always, I want to hear what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so that you never miss a mystery. Until next time, stay mysterious.